to become the world leader in medical tourism, and might just make it. Alongside the familiar images of the country, teeming, dusty streets, poverty, you can add a gleaming new private hospital. This hospital opened only 7 weeks before we got there. It was already expanding. The hospital boom in India was fueled by India's growing middle class who demanded access to quality health care. Now the country known for exporting doctors is trying hard to import patients. The most important player is the Apollo Group, the largest hospital group in India, third largest in the world. Anjali Kapoor Bissell is a director of Apollo's International Patient Office. Why is it important to get foreign patients here?
It makes sense to establish India as sort of like the world destination for healthcare.
That's the ambition, that India should become the world
Destination for healthcare, that's right.
But why should foreigners come here? Well, it's even cheaper than Thailand for most procedures, with prices about 10% what they would be in the U.S. Anne Bell works at the British High Commission in New Delhi. She just had a baby and says she's glad she was here and not in England.
There's been no pressure to go home after the delivery. We've been welcome to stay as long as we want. They're looking after the baby, they're looking after me, giving me enough time to get settled and confident enough to go back home. Often in the UK, you might be out of the hospital within 5 hours if you've had a normal delivery.
And in the UK, she wouldn't have had a private room with a private bath. Not to mention massages, yoga too. And the doctors? Indian doctors are known worldwide. They speak English, and they're often the very same doctors you may have had in Europe or America, where many of them practiced before returning to India. Do you find that many Indian doctors are coming back now because of hospitals such as this one?
Yes, a large number are coming back because they have something to come back to.
Dr. Praveen Kilnani, a pediatric intensive care specialist, worked at several American hospitals, including Mass General. Dr. Vikas Kohli is a pediatric cardiologist who worked at hospitals in New York and Miami. Both need sophisticated equipment to care for their patients, something India didn't have before the birth of private hospitals like Apollo. They both wanted to come back to India, despite the fact that medical care costs much less here, partly because doctors make much less. How much less do you make here than you made in the States?
Maybe the 10th or 20th of what we were making in the U.S.
They wanted to come back, they say, because they felt their expertise was needed here in India much more than in America.
There are probably 1,500 to 2,000 pediatric cardiologists in U.S. I would be one of them. In India, there were just 4 of us. I was very passionate about working for Indian kids.
And since there are so many Indians who require the kind of care only you can offer, why is there such a strong drive to attract foreign patients?
Who doesn't mind extra money flowing in?
Stephanie Settlemyer didn't want to spend the tens of thousands it would have cost her for the hip surgery she needed, and she didn't have insurance. So with her daughter by her side, she flew from Vero Beach, Florida, to the Apollo Hospital in Chennai. She'd never been to India before, but she already knew quite a bit about Indian. Dusty streets, poverty, you can add a gleaming new private hospital. This hospital opened only 7 weeks